when Philando Castile was shot in a car, which is what they actually represent. Where were they? So if you are not coming to the people's defense, then don't challenge us when young people and other people who are frustrated and instigated by the people you pay. You are paying instigators to be among our people out there throwing rocks, breaking windows, and burning down buildings. And so young people are responding to that. They are enraged, and there's an easy way to stop it. Arrest the cops. Charge the cops. Charge all the cops. Not just some of them, not just here in Minneapolis. Charge them in every city across America.
All right, y'all, you just heard an excerpt from activist Tamika Mallory, who is clearly a part of on the ground protesting all the police brutality, murders, injustice. And I'm here today with a couple of my guests to discuss what all is going on, what's on our minds, what's in our hearts. Thank you all for tuning in. You've just joined the Flow Experience. My name is Flo. Of course, you guys know who I am. And I always like to start off with thanking you all for taking the time out of your day to spend a few moments with me to express myself, to have guests on the show, to be a platform and a voice for those who don't or may not have a voice. And so without further ado, I got two of the coolest brides on earth that run their own podcast called The C.U.N.T. Code, who I totally admire and I totally respect, and I'm totally think it's so dope. My homegirl Lee and my homegirl Free Spirit. So if y'all want to take a few moments to introduce yourselves, go right ahead.
Okay, Lee, you can go first.
She just volunteered me to go first. But this is Lee from, this is Lee from the C.U.N.T. Code. Just want to thank you, Flo, so much for firstly having this conversation and having us on board to discuss it with you. So thank you for that.
Absolutely.
And I'm Free. I'm the other half of the C.U.N.T. Code podcast that stands for Controversial, Uncensored Narratives and Truth.
True.
And
so appropriate right now.
We're happy. We're happy to be here. So thank you for inviting us. And unfortunately, I wish we were talking about something more, I guess, less heavy. But hey, we got to get into it. So
we got to get into it.
And before we get into it, though, Flo, I just want to apologize to your readers because my eyebrows are jacked up today. Okay. To let
listen, you know, we got right now we on the front lines from our homes, from our social media platforms. Some of us are out there on the streets, you know, so we're not worried about eyebrows or none of that. Right. We just
not today.
Worried about, you know, our feelings and each other, and you're beautiful.
All right.
Especially among all the chaos. You know, we represent the beauty that is sometimes lost.
So. And I got my sage and my old school music.
Ooh, I should have had my sage over here too. It's in my bathroom.
Cause I understand I ain't at home. See, we ain't on the C.U.N.T. Code, so I'm gonna try to keep myself.
No. Please, no. I honestly, you, mi casa su casa. You are welcome to be your full self. Flow Experience is uncensored, it's honest, it's real, it's raw, it's not scripted. I don't know how to be scripted. I think I sound weird when I'm scripted. So please, by all means, be yourself.
Well, you asked for it, so here you gonna get it.
That's all right. I'm ready for it. So like I said, we just listened to an excerpt and I'm shaking. That's how I'm feeling right now. An excerpt from Tamika Mallory. She is an activist who is on the ground, who is very boastful, and I totally respect her. She is unapologetic. She is trying to organize and protest. Y'all, we are at a very pinnacle moment in our history. Although this is nothing new under the sun, let's be clear. As it was quoted by Will Smith, and that's been going around too, racism isn't getting worse, it's just being filmed. What's painful about it for me now is my children are now caught up in a society where they get to witness and watch murder on social media, of their people of, their likeness. They're seeing themselves. My son, 12 years old, and I'm trying my best to keep them off of some of these platforms. I have a 12-year-old, so that's hard. I have an 11-year-old, that's hard. They're very artsy, and so a lot of their access to their creativity is sometimes comes from social media platforms and being able to have access to their devices. But he is so restless. Like, he's up every morning at 5 o'clock, just can't sleep. He's nervous. He's afraid. We had a heart-to-heart conversation. I just happened to get up in the middle of the night, and he's in his room crying. He was like, he just doesn't understand why people hate us, why they don't want us to be alive. Um, and this was in the midst of all the protesting, and you would think that his focus would be on some of the destructive behavior, but that's not fazing him. He's angry about why we are in this space, why people are protesting. He's angry about the why. And if you have that much sensibility as a 12-year-old to understand not to be distracted, by what's physically going on, but to understand the foundation of the problem. That didn't come from me. He's got it. He's got that ability to do so. And I wish some of our adults would be adult enough to do so. But it's heartbreaking for me. So I won't, use up too much of my time and my emotion. I want to hear from you all. So, what's on your minds?
I mean, I'm all over the place, as a parent. I feel you on that, it's sad that this is going to be my children's history, but at the same time, I was talking to my dad a little bit earlier today. That's who was just calling me back. I'm sorry. Because he told me he had to go pee. So he said, I'll call you back. So, but I told him I'd call him back. But yeah, we was talking, and what I realized is that to hear my daddy say he tired and he 60, I'm like, you know what? I don't have no right, I feel, to be tired. I'm gonna be 28 next week. I'm still a baby. So we haven't really begun in our generation to have to really fight yet. You know what I mean? This is just the beginning. So I'm not gonna say I'm tired of it, because I haven't lived yet. I haven't had to live through it and fight it, but it is it's scary for me, because I have a child already, then I have one on the way. And I don't know, when you think about, okay, well, am I going to have a little girl? Am I going to have a little boy? It don't really fucking matter, because either way, both of them going to be hated. But to know that, if I have a little boy, he going to be fucking hunted. You know what I'm saying? Like, that shit really bothers you. But I won't say I'm tired. I will say I am ready to fight. And I do feel like, it's time for us to come up with some real solutions and fucking stick to them as a community. I don't personally feel like racist or just white people in general, even the quote unquote good white people, owe me shit. Don't nobody owe me shit but me. You know what I'm saying? Don't nobody owe me shit but my people and my community. I feel like we have to start focusing on us and be like, fuck them. The only thing they really got to do for me is leave me the fuck alone. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't expect them to relinquish, their power, their control, all of the injustice and all of the things that they hold in the palm of their hands. I don't expect them to give me that. I can't expect them to give that up. So I think when we when we beg them, or we try to depend on them to change, I feel like this is why we constantly have this shit happening. You know what I'm saying? I feel like it gotta come to a point where we just bust down the fucking door. Like, we gonna have to have people, I know when we heard like Phil and Mike and all them talking about, well, you gotta go to the polls, you gotta do this, that. But if there's no one that I'm voting for that looks like me or has my interests, I can't depend on that. You know, I need someone, I need our sons, I need our daughters, I need our cousins, our aunties, our whoever to be candidates. You know what I'm saying? We need people that's gonna take a stand. We need people like me who's gonna go to law school, and maybe I'll be a prosecutor. Shit, maybe I'll be a fucking prosecutor. So that way I have all of the power. You know, I have all of the cards. But the thing about that too is when we do get people in those powerful positions that look like us, we can't shit on them. We can't say, oh, just because you gonna go off and be a police officer or a prosecutor, now I can't fuck with you. Now you done sold out. Those are the types of things that I want to discuss. Like, how the fuck do we focus on us? Because they don't give a fuck about us. And they shouldn't. Honestly, they shouldn't. They don't owe us that. So that's just my initial first takes on how I've been feeling and some things that I've been thinking about through all of this shit from the last few weeks.
Yeah, I can dig that. And I can also understand, like, I'm having a bipolar monsoon of emotions. I'm all over the place. I can understand where these folks is coming from. I can understand where these folks is coming from. You know, it's a percentage of me that's like, fuck it. Right. You know what I'm saying? It's another part of me that's just like, you know, you can't ask or require civility from people who have no civil foundation.
Right. I told y'all that before.
We dealing with
that on the podcast. On our podcast. We working with people that lack basic fucking human emotion. We're dealing with historical sociopaths and psychopaths.
Yes.
Like, look at the history. So why the fuck would I then sit there and bang down your door and beg you to let me the fuck in?
So what is it that the protested, what are they trying to accomplish exactly?
And that's what I'm confused about.
Well, here's the thing about that. I don't think that they're actually looking to accomplish change overnight. But what they're not going to do is sit at home and be still and be quiet, because that's obviously the alternative. If you're asking for what is it that they're trying to actually accomplish, they can't accomplish anything until they get that shit up out of their system. They get in somebody's face and let them know how they feel. They gather up amongst each other and have those conversations about what the next step is. You can't do that being contained and being civil. And another thing about that too is, you know, we have to look at who we're talking about. We're talking about the people who are legitimately out there, I would say, because there are some folks that's out there on some bullshit. Let's just be honest. But there are some legitimate people who are out there crying out, who are in pain, who are traumatized, who suffer from PTSD, who have mental health issues that don't get addressed, who don't have parents at home to give them that solidarity of care. So you have to have all of those initial comforts from your home and from your environment and from your people around you in order to understand what civility looks like. And then when you don't have that, then you got to go out here and you got to play dodgeball, because you don't know if you're going to get pulled over. You don't know if you're going to get beat up for jaywalking. You don't know if you're going to be laying in your bed and roll over and your girlfriend is full of bullets because they knocked on the wrong door. So you can't ask. I think that's a mistake to ask for civility of certain amount of people who are dealing with this trauma in a way that they've never been able to deal with it before. You know, it's on social media now, but you know, how many of us can sit here and say they've actually witnessed somebody's brains on the street? I can. I've seen it in front of my apartment.
I've seen it not by cops, but you know.
I mean, but I'm just saying, you know, death isn't normal. We shouldn't have to normalize it. Look at our Vietnam vets. Some of them came back and they never been right because they've witnessed such tumultuous
violence. That was a big ass word.
Well, I mean, it's real. It's real. You know what I'm saying? That's a part of our DNA. Is the traumatic experiences that we've endured over time, whether it's against one another or whether it's being inflicted. So it's like you saying, put a time bomb in a box, seal it up, wrap it up real pretty and with ribbons and bows, and expect it to not blow up. I think that's a cavalier ask. Yep. At some point, that bomb is gonna blow up. And it's not gonna be pretty. And the sad part is you're gonna have some collateral.
We all different. Yeah. Like we got the young people that's younger than me and Lee. I mean, our generation pretty much ain't scared of shit. But them motherfuckers that's younger than us, they damn sure ain't scared.
They have no fear. They have no fear.
Fucking risk it all. So then you have the, you know, me and Lee age and look probably about to your age. Flow that, you know, we'll knock if you buck, but we also can you know, we think we have intellect, and sometimes we know when to pull it back, you know what I'm saying?
Some of us, because I know folks my age is still ain't got them all.
That's why I say we kind of we in the in between group, the 30 to 40 to almost 50 range. We in between, you know what I'm saying? We not as reckless as the younger people. But, you know, you can't expect us to all be the same kind of black. But I do think that we do have to get on some general kind of consensus on, like, what would be best for us, you know.
Yeah.
All while working within the, you know, that we all have different experience, different environments, and different mindsets about, you know, what's feasible to our community.
Well, yeah. I have a story. So, I went to college and I took this class. It was called Race Relations class, right? And the whole premise of the class was that there was really no such thing as race. Like we as a society decide what race is. It was like an Asian man who was like, no, I'm white, because he wanted the white benefits. You know what I'm saying? So we actually decide what race is. And I was like, damn, I just spent $800 to talk about people being mean to other people and stuff. But it was like, really, the moral that I came up with was that the law is racist. It doesn't matter if individuals, motherfucker next door is racist. If the law that can put you in prison or sentence you to death is racist, we got a fucking problem. Yeah. I remember leaving that class crying, because it's like, what the fuck do we do? You know what I'm saying? What do you do when the law is against you? Because
and that's how these young kids are feeling right now. What the fuck are we supposed to do? Now, see, we are on the eve right now of George Floyd. Okay, so in the beginning of anything like that, you're gonna have civil unrest for at least a week, right, before people calm down and before they can collect themselves and have that constructive conversation. That should be expected. What bothers me is folks act like they didn't know what to expect. Why didn't you expect it? Come on now, this ain't the first rodeo for this country.
They live in a universe where they feel like they are fucking untouchable. That's why, again.
So who are we talking about? The police officers? Just white folks?
And I'm talking about all of them. I'm not speaking just specifically to the races. Let me get this straight, and I'll say this for me. I think all the motherfuckers have a tad bit of racism in it, and I'm gonna tell you why. Because on any given Sunday, them motherfuckers know that they're privileged and they know when the fuck to use it. I don't give a fuck what you say. Even the good ones know they're privileged and they know when to use it. And at any given fucking moment, they will turn their backs on your black ass. So do not get it twisted, because you got your white spouses and your white friends and your white neighbors and y'all kiki and y'all ha-ha. and they might be on the front lines for you now, but I'm telling you, they have the ability, they have options.
Yes, they do.
We don't have those types of things. They can go out there and protest and be on the front lines and, you know, jump ship at any time if that's what the fuck they want to do.
Hell, they can go off and snap off at the police and not.
They say, well, the kitchen done got too hot for me. I can jump the fuck back and be white and be in my privilege.
Right. That's right.
So.
That's right. Keep it all the way 1,000.
That's just my opinion. That's just what I've seen. You know. So that's what I'm talking about. I'm talking about all of you. That's why I'm not worried about having a discussion about them. I'm worried about having a discussion and finding real solutions for us, because I don't think it's nothing not now one of them can do for me.
And I'm also talking not only to them, but I'm also talking to those of us who don't realize that shit. How do you not realize that that's what it is? Okay? It's like, you know, we in a lion's den with pork chop sweaters on. It's real. I'm keeping it 100. You know what I'm saying? Because even and considering the fact that this is nothing new under the sun, why are y'all asking us to figure it out? Where the fuck y'all been at? We inherited this bullshit. Okay? Y'all done marched. Y'all done held hands. Y'all done prayed. Y'all done been peaceful. Y'all done turned the other cheeks. Y'all done killed our leaders. Y'all ostracized them. Some of them can't even come back into the country. Some of them are political prisoners and dying in prison. Rest in peace to Geronimo Pratt, even though I think he got out. He just passed away. But you don't even hear these names no more. Where they at? Mm-hmm. You know, so now you want us to pick up the baton that's been buried in the dirt and in the sand and under the church. Let's keep it all the way 100, because when all of them died, Black folks ran to the church. And instead of putting their money into organizing and putting their money into campaigning to put us in office and having our backs and things like that, they gave their money to the church. That's the real freaking history. Okay. Now, I ain't mad at the church. I ain't, you know, trying to be blasphemous or nothing. I respect my elders and how they choose to believe and whatever else. But now y'all looking at us like we crazy. That's why I'm angry. We're not crazy. We are actually expressing all that you've asked us to suppress, because you don't want us to not be civilized. Well, we can't be civilized when we have no civility. We haven't been given the opportunity to understand what that means and to have it and to see it and to have the privilege. Just like you said, we don't have those kind of privileges. So when you see buildings on fire, unfortunately, I hate it for the small business owner that worked hard and tried to establish themselves, especially the Black small business owner. And I hate that we do have some folks that are infiltrating our protests and allowing us to take the fall for their bad behavior. However, there are people out there who are legitimately in pain, who are legitimately expressing themselves by picking up a brick and throwing that shit because they're hurting. I refuse to point my finger at them and judge them, because we're not out there collectively surrounding that person and getting them that mental health that they been needing. Let's talk about before they went out there and protest, how they've been fucked up. Mentally, emotionally, traumatized, PTSD, raped, molested. Come on.
You said I'm not crazy. Well, the fuck, I am crazy. And I am the fucking angry Black woman, but I feel like I goddamn deserve to be.
I mean, come on, but that ain't crazy though. That's not their definition of crazy. You know what I'm saying? What we crazy about right now is the fact that we don't have the tolerance for this bullshit no more. I don't. I'm sick of it.
We never did though. And so that brings me to, because I wrote down like 3 points. This is one thing too I wanted to address. You know, with our generation and, you know, people. If I hear these motherfuckers out here talking about some, we are not our ancestors, one more goddamn time, I'm gonna pull up to your house, knock on your door. When you open the door, I'm gonna personally slap the shit out of you, because it suggests that our ancestors weren't resistant. Like, if our ancestors didn't fight back, we wouldn't be able to sit where the fuck we sitting today. Let's not forget there has been progress. We still have a long way to go, but we have to study our ancestors. Don't shit on the ancestors like they just didn't do shit.
That's right.
Like you forgot. The only way you would say that is if you don't know who the fuck you are and where the fuck you came from.
Right. How do you even think we got here? Because of our ancestors. What you mean?
That's right.
Do you see the time
And
where
those are the leaders that have been lost, and their legacies have been silenced. You know, you don't have those conversations in our communities about some of those people to where we can actually teach our youth who these people are, and that's where we come in. It's our responsibility to now, like, teach my son and my daughter, you know, who they are and where they come from.
Hold on, I don't want to interrupt the conversation. Do you see the time on here? It only allows us to go 40 minutes. So when we get to maybe like 2, let's just hang up and call each other back and just continue. So that way it won't just cut off. Sorry about that.
That's all right. I'm gonna play another quick clip too, that I think is just, you know, profound, because there are so many voices because of everything that's been going on. And let's also be clear. I heard somebody saying, I think it was Whoopi Goldberg. She's, you know, totally against looting and rioting. She always has been. That's just her stance. But she's saying, did we ask George Floyd's family what they need? But it's not just him.
Right.
You know, George Floyd was the straw that broke the camel's back. That pushed us over the edge. And, you know, of course we are concerned for his family. Of course we're concerned about, you know, what they may need, but it's not just about him. And I think people are also getting lost in thinking that we're only out there because of that. No, we're out there because there has been
too many
and a short amount of time. I mean, dang, we can't even go to sleep and wake up the next morning without something else happening. And I was just telling my mother, because, you know, social media and the media, the news outlets, they're so focused on the protests that they ain't even paying attention to. There's another person that done got killed by the police that ended up on my timeline the other day.
Because they really don't give a fuck.
But my thing is, do y'all not realize people are killed by the police every single day?
Every
single day. Whether it's on TV or not. So this shit can't just be, okay, what I wanted to come on here and say is everybody got to have their roles. Everybody got to figure out where they come in, whether you a journalist, whether you know, got a podcast, whether you funding it behind the scenes, whether you on the front line. Everybody got to be involved in this situation, because this shit is not going to go away because coronavirus came back this month or Beyonce dropped a new song today. Like, we got to stay on this track until shit is differently, until people don't feel police don't feel comfortable just fucking being crazy out here and killing people just because they don't feel like nothing's gonna get happen to them. And fuck the police, anybody. Nobody should be able to just kill somebody and it just be cool. You know what I'm saying?
Real shit.
So we all gotta do our part. Figure out what your part is and do it.
I want to talk about that too, like when we like call back, because you mentioned this is probably your second time mentioning like the legality of the whole situation, and I'm not an expert on it yet, but that's something I'm very interested in, and I do feel like we do have to talk about those solutions in terms of the law. You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And I'm glad you brought up the coronavirus, because my cousin brought up a valid point earlier today. I'm gonna touch on that here in a second, but let me go ahead and play this clip real quick. And you guys have probably seen it, but I just think it's profound.
It ain't me. It's not me. I'm gonna let y'all know that now. It's not us guys neither. And I'm glad that y'all said that. It's not us. It's the police. It's the madness that they spark up. This is what they encourage. This is what they provoke. This is what you get out of you taking a loved one from someone. This is what you get. You get a lot of people that's hurt, and they can't vent the right way. They can't no longer depend on the police to be here to protect us like they say they're going to do. So this is what you get. And no, it's not going to end today. I can't tell you it's going to end tomorrow. I don't know when it's going to end. But it's the world's fault. We're not the ones that's killing us. Y'all killing us. We can't make a change if y'all don't change.
And so this young man here, I'm not sure if this is the Minnesota situation or if it's an older clip of this young man, but this kid, he can't be no more than maybe about, I'm gonna give him 16. Mm-hmm. He looked 14.
Sounds like
he's so intelligent, you know, even in his emotion. He's so intelligent and so transparent. That's the example of the pain that I'm talking about. I'm not talking about, just the nonchalant attitudes of people who, are just marching to march, because they out there too, but like you said, y'all killing our loved ones. I mean, that's real. We don't know what he's been through up to this point. We don't know who he may have just lost. Because, like you said, police is killing people every single day. So I just think we need to think as a collective and look at everything all the way around the board. Don't just stand on a soapbox and point fingers and be judgmental. We don't need that shit right now, but I do agree.
Not from damn Black people.
Exactly. And that's who we getting it from the most. And that makes me so angry because y'all don't have blinders on.
Right,
the end result is it sucks. I get it. You don't want to see destruction, but we don't want to see another dead body.
They love their masters. They love master now. You can't get a nigga not to love their master now.
I'm just confused by how they appreciate the structure of a building more, it seems, than they care about another dead body right in front of us. I mean, and I don't know that they don't care. I'm just saying, it just seems like I don't want to hear y'all bitching and moaning and complaining about people looting. Fuck that shit, man. I don't like it. I wouldn't do it myself. But I'm not out there. I'm not in, that ain't my pain per se. I'm in pain because I don't like none of this shit overall. But like that young man is saying, y'all killing our loved ones. I don't know what that baby been through, and who's around him to support him. So
and everybody was in the house till that video sparked. So, I mean, it ain't like they just went out to do the shit just because.
Exactly.
So I think this is a good point to stop, and then I'll send y'all another.
Yeah, we at 2 minutes and 30 seconds now, y'all.
Yeah, so let's go ahead and stop it, and then I'll call y'all back.
We gonna pay some bills.
Okay, we're gonna pay. Good.
We're gonna pay some bills. Yeah. And we're gonna be right back on the Flow Experience. Y'all hang tight.
All right.
Okay.